Welcome to Use Your Words podcast, where we believe in intelligently spoken conversations. So you know, and I will admit, like I said, I can talk, or not, yeah, or not. Oh, welcome to another episode of Use Your Words podcast, and I am Paul, joined once again with the enthusiastic Aaron, or Ghost Aaron. I'm not sure exactly which one it is over there on the side.
I'd be a ghost. Being this house, I could be a ghost.
You're the right color for one.
I'm getting that pale white now that summer's over, and I just stay inside anyways.
Yeah,
I'm going to turn ghostly white. I'm not looking forward to it.
Anyways, welcome to another episode. And so we're going to talk about a topic today. Aaron, I'm going to tell you this now.
Okay.
As part of this, think about something we can use as the practical example for it. And this might get entertaining as we go through it. We'll see.
What? Think of an example of what?
Well, of what we're talking about in the topic, and that is letting go of things, whether that be something of a comfort thing that you don't want to let go of, or maybe it's something like that's a stressor, or maybe something that's maybe a disappointment, something that gets you angry, something that is causing you just pain in general in your life. And that doesn't necessarily mean physical pain. It could be mental pain, various things like that, maybe even a relationship or something like that. So we're going to talk about letting go. Why is it, maybe hard? What are kind of some tips and tricks that you can do to let some of these things go? Now, obviously, me and Aaron ourselves are not a licensed therapist or anything like that.
I mean, Paul almost. He just had to put up with me. But
yeah, no, sorry. That just gets me trips to Crazy Ward.
True.
That doesn't get me anything else other than that. But that being said, I actually am going to start off with talking about something that does relate to this tangentially. It's not a full tangent. It's like and it's it's not 90-degree tangent here. We're maybe doing like a 20-degree tangent here.
All right.
It's in there. It very much is in there.
A cute tangent.
Yes, it's a very cute tangent. So, for maybe those who aren't aware, last year I did a year-long study type deal on how to, I guess you could say, how to be more mentally fit and stable, and how to help other people with that as well through heart support. So I did that for a year. I did masterclass year 1 last year. Okay.
Yeah.
This year, I'm in year 2 of it.
Oh,
so
it's still going on.
So, well, it's different. It's an optional sign-in. You have to do things with everything, right?
Yeah.
And with year 2, so year 1, it's literally you log in to like a Facebook session, and you can chat with them, back and forth, but it's mostly them talking at you, the various people, whoever it may be that week from heart support, doing the talking. And some of the talk can be like, how do you keep yourself mentally healthy while helping other people? How do you reach out to people? How do you do this, various things, practical tips from people. Now, to be fair, they're not licensed either. Only one person on their staff really has like any actual certifications. That's Ben Sledge. He's one of their riders, and he also is one of the guys that likes to do the peer support stuff like on the wall and various other activities and that. So I'm doing that again this year.
Cool.
Year 2.
Nice.
Now, as one of the things that I get to do with year 2 now is interesting, and we'll see how this goes. Because, so you're aware of heart support, right, Aaron?
Yes.
Okay, so you're aware of what they have, what technologies they have available for them. Like, you're aware of what their wall is, correct?
Give me that.
Okay. So heart
I
support.
just know what they are, I guess.
Okay. So from your talking point, from your perspective, what is heart support?
I mean, it's a community meant to help people that are struggling
With?
with, well, I mean, depression, suicide, just any mental health kind of stuff.
Well, also addiction and
Yeah.
various other things like that.
Yeah.
So at
Problems.
So at Heart Support, they have, if you go to their webpage and go to community support, they have what's called the Heart Support Wall,
Okay.
where people can go on. You create an account, you log in, you create an account, and you go in there and you write. Maybe you're struggling with something, you write it out there, and then other people, so people from the support class, master class, year 1 and 2, will respond out there. Anyone else can respond as well. So you don't have to be taking the master classes to respond back and forth, right?
Okay.
But you have to go to a specific website and you have to sign in, and you have to comment, and you have to, you get replies back, right? All right, well, that's fine and all and dandy and good, but that means someone has to actually go to a website. So then a couple years ago, they introduced the ability to text in to the wall, essentially. So, you would scan a QR code with your phone, and then you would, send a text message and come back and say, like, okay, do you want to sign up to post this on the wall, essentially? You hit yes, and then you text it in. That's a few steps, and better than going to a dedicated website, because now you're texting phone number, and especially people of your generation like to text first. And I'm right in there. I prefer texting over phone call.
Yeah.
So that there's still a few steps involved with that. Well, they just rolled out, and when I say just rolled out, I mean Friday was the first time that they have done this. So on Friday, someone that you follow probably on Instagram, singer of August Burns Red, he posted a post. That was the first one to use the tech.
Oh, is that the? I guess I don't know what the post is. At the post that you're talking about, but I did see he posted something recently.
He posted.
And it had to do with, mental health and all that.
Yeah,
stuff.
it would have been around noon Central Time on Friday, the 8th of October.
Gosh, that was just yesterday.
Yes.
I don't know. I'm thinking that's forever ago.
Yes, it was that one.
That whole, the big.
Yeah, so it has this whole big wall of text on it, right?
Yeah.
But if anything that, so stuff that gets posted on here can get automatically posted to the Heart Support Wall.
Heart Support Wall.
Now, that being said, there are some weird little hoops because Facebook.
Oh,
Instagram's owned by Facebook and everything, right?
Yeah.
And what's fun is now being on the master class, I get to talk with the guy who actually wrote all the code for this.
Oh, cool. Nice.
So now if you notice, like, and you read like through the various things on here, notice that they tag like at Heart Support Wall and that.
Yeah.
And what happens is it gets actually put into a special category on the Heart Support Wall. So only people who have like linked Instagram accounts can see it and all that back, but there's a lot of people who have that who can then do that. So that's something that Heart Support's doing recently, and what they're doing now is they're wanting to reach out to like influencers and
for sure.
and say, hey, look, you want to bring like something, awareness as well as maybe some support mental health wise to maybe the audience that you reach. Literally, this is all you have to do, and it's like 4 steps. And now you can connect your audience to the Heart Support Wall.
Whoa.
Instead of you telling them, go here, make an account, do this, it's reply to my Instagram message, and all of a sudden, boom, it's connected.
There.
So, that being said, we technically are linked into the same way, and we'll have to see how we can leverage that as well, Mr. Johnson.
What the heck? That's wild. I never thought. Wow, that's crazy to see where that's come from, or how far it's come, I should say.
Yep.
Better-
So that's just something to kind of look out for. If you see something on Instagram marked that way, you'll see the markings for it to go to a heart support wall, and it'll be like, oh, sweet, you can now get support directly from Instagram.
Boom.
Dude,
Technology is crazy. What the heck?
So if you do have any,
Yeah.
mental health issues, you're looking at support stuff like this, and it's you go, oh, addiction and it doesn't necessarily have to be drugs. Like there's people who post on here about, game addictions,
Right.
And other things like that. And if you're to believe the numbers, which I absolutely believe the numbers, they have seen, due to COVID, one of the numbers I was recently hearing, and these are more like recent numbers than what I had earlier in the year, they were saying close to like a 3 times uptick in depression, suicidal thoughts, and everything like that. So it's not something that is inconsequential.
Right.
And any little thing, sometimes does help. So now, again, if this is something that you're interested in, check out forum.heartsupport.com if you want to actually be on the wall itself, or if you're interested in interacting on those Instagram posts, look for maybe your favorite creator and tell them, like, if they're not hooked up with Heart Support, be like, hey, let's
check it out.
Connect with them, check it out, and I am sure that they would love to work with them. In fact, one of my things that I will be doing with Heart Support this year too is helping them advocate this new tech to other people and get them to start using it.
Huh.
So that'll be one of my roles in doing this kind of this masterclass type deal.
That's really cool.
So we're actually on the ground floor of this. Like I said, the first post went live with this tech
on Friday,
yesterday, as of this recording.
Jeez.
And all of us knew about it on Thursday night that it was going live Friday.
Wow.
And so
that's so wild.
So that's some of the fun things that we get to do now. Actually, in a way, unofficially, we get to partner with Heart Support through me, because that's what I'm doing now in my free time.
Yeah.
And
even
and you get to benefit from some of that.
Time.
Yeah, free time, right?
Yeah. Okay.
I know, even I laughed at that.
Wow.
So, one of the things that, because we have to keep ourselves mentally healthy and all this, especially as we go into this dreariness of a winter and everything. There's multiple practices that you could put into place to keep yourself healthy and going on and not being burdened down by everything going on. Now, one of those that I kind of see is not something that we as Americans do too well. Is we don't let things go. We kind of hold on to grudges for a long time. Kind of hold on to those things that hurt us, that give us pain, that cause us to be stressed out forever. That you look at some, the old stereotypical, the Hatfields and McCoys, those family feuds that lasted forever. They never let go of those things.
Yeah.
And now I'm not talking about the hit song from Disney, and I almost threw up in my mouth saying that. But that song that was very popular, that drives all of the poor mothers insane as their daughters sing it over and over and over and over again. We're not talking about the song "Let It Go."
No.
Now, in a way, some of the stuff in there is okay. I get it. Why it'd be good to have some of that. So I get some of the what they're trying to say in the song, but I don't think it's the best message.
Well, it came from Disney, so.
Well, yes, I get that 100%. So let me ask you this, Mr. Johnson. What is maybe, have you ever had a time or an experience where you've had to maybe let something go? And I'm not talking like a friendship or relationship type deal, which that is something you do have to let go at time, right?
Right.
But maybe the expectations put on you by other people, something that was driving you towards anger, something that was disappointing you, something that was stressing you out.
Because I remember I used to be super excited to look at going to, well, what was it, going to a school, well, good old Cedarville. Woohoo. I remember I was really excited to get into that, which I guess, I mean, later on, I guess I probably still could have. But at the time, I couldn't because of my injuries.
Okay.
So, I don't know. So that, I feel like that's the only, I can't think of anything else at the moment.
Nothing else, huh? Nothing that's caused you any sort of pain or anger or anything like that.
There's always a lot of that stuff at times, but I don't.
So what do you do with that anger?
What do I do with it?
Yeah, what do you do with those things that cause you that anger or the anger itself?
I mean,
You just let it fester?
no. I mean, no. I'm trying to think what. I mean, playing drums makes me angry at times, but I don't stop playing drums.
Okay, I'm not talking about like drum angry. I'm talking about like something that makes you just almost rage-inducing, fly off the handle, or maybe something makes you just very upset.
Ugh. Gosh, I feel like there's not a ton of things that just get me that bad.
Okay.
I would say one of the things that was Dark Souls for sure.
Just let it go, man.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay.
I can't really think of anything
Okay. No, that
besides the whole schooling
Not-
at the moment. It's like, well, this can't happen right now because of what's going on.
okay. So back when that was going on, when you had that realization that, oh yeah, I won't be able to do this because of the various accidents or whatnot. What was that like? It was obviously you're saying it's disappointing. It sucked, right?
Right. Yeah.
Did you do anything to get over it, or did you just kind of let time kind of?
I mean, yeah, just pretty much just say let it go. Wow. I guess I didn't actively do anything. 'Cause, I mean, I eventually ended up going to Parkside and still, I mean, this was some time later, and try to do some music stuff at Parkside. But I mean, I guess, yeah, the whole hope and dream there was to go to Cedarville, become part of their whole like worship team thingy and stuff like that, and do that. But I couldn't do the audition for it, yeah, at that time. But otherwise, I think, yeah, really just time went on. Just kind of like, there's new opportunities, new other things to do.
Okay.
So I guess it's just like, as cool as that would have been, there's so many other things that are out there to do that are still awesome.
Okay, so you
really
haven't had anything that would warrant a letting it go type deal.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not that I can think of, which freaks me out.
Why does that freak you out?
I don't know. I'm trying to think of like, well, when it comes time to like really have to like step down, and if I do have to do something, would I be able to? I don't know. I hope so. Maybe over time, on enough fighting. I would.
Okay. Anyways, then, so because Aaron doesn't.
Yeah, what did you let go of? Probably a ton.
Oh boy, you don't want to go down that dark rabbit hole.
I don't.
But we are.
Okay.
Why are you going, oh,
I'm scared now.
Why?
I don't know. He said I don't want to go down that dark rabbit hole.
oh, we're going
But
down
we're
it.
Going down it.
All right. So I'm
braced.
going to describe to you at first,
Yeah.
and then I'm going to tell you how I did it wrong,
Okay.
and then how I did it well.
Okay.
So that's where we'll start,
All right.
and you interject with questions or comments.
Oh gosh. Okay.
That's how it goes.
Okay. All right. Hopefully I can do that.
I have my utmost faith in you
Uh-oh. That's when I tend to do the worst.
that you will let me down.
Yeah. Dang it. Yeah.
I'm kidding. Anyways, so I guess you could say, like, after my dad passed away,
Yeah.
there was a lot of anger there towards God, towards some of my family, towards just cancer in general, I guess you could say. But there's also that sadness there. There was a lot of sadness there because, to be fair, I was 14.
Right.
He was just starting to show me what it means to be, quote unquote, a man, and what it means to grow up and live and all that. And I felt very deprived of that. I felt angry and I felt sad about that.
Oh, for sure.
So some of the unhealthy things I did was I just held on to it, and some of that was self-induced. Some of that was, kind of cultural with my family. Some of that was, cultural of, the United States, of just, you must be a man and you don't show your emotions and all that
Oh, yeah, toughen
crap,
up.
And I actually talked about that recently on another place I was interviewed at about that, where it seems like in America especially, it's like you don't shed a tear if you're a guy, even if you're a teen.
Yeah.
Especially when I was growing up, that's why I heard constantly left and right from family, from, and that's kind of out there in society media. Nowadays, I would say it's not so much true, but at the same side, I almost wonder if it's gone too far in the reverse, where it's like every little offense, it's you must cry racism or something else,
Right.
and there's a healthy balance in between in there where you do show your emotions still, but you don't blame everyone else for it. And we'll get to that in a second. So that was a very unhealthy way at how I processed things and how I did things. Not letting those emotions be shown or dealing with them at all. That chews you up inside for a long time.
Right.
In my case, it chewed me up for a good, 21 years before everything came to a head. Before I actually got help that I needed.
Right.
And so in that 21 years, it was very destructive to me. It was very hard. And the thing is, I had to learn after I got help, how to let this anger and let this sadness go. And it's not just something you go, well, I'm just going to let it go. It's not like you go, I'm going to put this in a box and, okay, we'll never deal with it again, because that's part of the problem, never dealing with it.
Right.
You got to bring it, you got to deal with it in some capacity at some point with enough time. But how do you do that is the question. How do you take something that is such a deep wound to you and make it okay? How do you start that healing? And there's a lot of theories out there on how you do this. And there's not going to be one thing that is going to be, the cure-all for everything, right? So let me ask you this, because this ties into it. What is the difference between letting go and aversion? And how are they tied together?
Ooh. I mean, aversion just being
First
out
off,
of sight, out of mind. Or
no, that's not
No.
what aversion is. Aversion is a dislike, a resist, a hating, fearing of something.
Oh,
You have an aversion to spiders.
that I do.
You will go out of your way to get be not in their presence.
Or to get rid of them.
Yes.
So how is letting go and aversion the same? And
How are they
different?
tied together? And how are they tied together?
I mean, I guess how they're tied together. I guess the only thing I can think of is, after you just saying what it was, is going out of your way to not deal with it. I guess when I look at letting go of something, it's just like I'm not wasting my time on this anymore. It's gone, kind of thing.
Okay. And see, with letting go, it's not that simple. Now, if you watch something like The Big Bang Theory or whatever, there's a scene between Penny and Sheldon where, and it's actually in one of the, I guess you could say, one of the more infamous episodes, because it's where Howard's mom dies, because the actress in real life who played Howard's mom had passed away recently, and so they made the episode about her dying. And so one of the things they kind of set up earlier on in the episode is, Sheldon, he's very neurotic, would be a kind way to say it at times. Think Josh on steroids. Yes. So there's this conversation between him and Penny, and they're having this conversation about how Penny can just let things go. And she's like, "Oh, it's simple, honey. Just let it go." And she does the hand motion of her hands opening and everything. Let it go. Right.
Away.
And they make it very simple. Just let it go. Just drop it. Just don't talk about it again. Just let it go. And in reality, it's not that simple.
I feel like you can't really do that.
Right. But anyways, so how aversion and letting go are kind of linked together.
Yeah.
According to a couple people, and this person is Rick Hansen. He has a PhD in how the brain works and everything, in psychology and everything. And he talks about this, and he says aversion, in essence, it's that aversive reaction. We fear something, we dislike, we resist, we hate, whatever it is. Typically, we have a aversive reaction to whatever we want to let go of.
Huh.
In other words, obviously I'm not gonna use the spider thing, but for me, I have that aversive reaction. I have some hate. I was had some of that of what I want to let go, which was my dad's passing.
Right.
So that's why I said there's some link there. So just be aware of that. If you have that natural hate and that anger towards something that you're trying to get rid of, that is, let go of, that is painful, that is a natural component of it. And sometimes that's something you have to deal with. And when I say deal with, I'm not saying deal with, just whatever, deal with it.
Yeah, suck it up, dude.
I'd say deal with as seek professional help, seek professional therapy, seek someone to help you guide you through it. So letting go is actually a very involved multi-step process.
There's a lot to work out.
Yep. And depending on what it is, it's okay, there could be a couple ways to do this. So there's kind of for, I guess you could say, the more simpler things, maybe something that's just stressing you out in the moment. Josh came along and broke your favorite drumstick in half. How do you let go of that, right? You relax, you focus on your breathing, you Feel what it likes to breathe inside. That's called being mindful.
Breathe inside?
Yeah. So
What?
when you breathe, right?
Aren't you?
When you breathe, right? What happens? Your lungs expand, your diaphragm. But what does it feel like when your lungs expand? Can you tell me that?
I mean, my chest gets bigger.
Yeah, but how's that feel? What muscles do you feel stretching a little bit? What do you feel moving? It's being mindful. It's being in the moment and just focusing on that instead of the stressor. You feel the air as it's cool going down your throat and warm coming back up.
Well,
It's just being mindful in that moment, right? But while you're being mindful of that, just let whatever thoughts kind of flow through you. Like, I can't believe Josh did this, but
I'm gonna kill that boy.
But here's the thing. You kind of have that free form of thought, but you don't kind of like grab on and latch onto one. You might be, I can't believe Josh did that. Wow, that air is cool coming in. Oh, is that the scent of lavender? I am going to kill him. Ooh, the carpet is soft today.
Ooh, I have a thing for soft rugs.
Okay. And then you're doing this, but you're paying attention to everything you're doing. And and then you use that as well. After you kind of do that a little bit, you then use like the exhales, and they say, and obviously, you're going to various things here, but they say use the exhaling to sense or imagine things leaving you, like your tension.
Yeah.
Your unpleasant feelings, your underlying anxiety, your irritation, your busy thinking, your planning. And just do that. Now, that's one thing you can do for that short term, like Josh just broke my favorite drumstick. Okay. For the long term stuff, okay, go back to me, my dad passing away, and I was angry and all this other stuff. How do you get rid of that? Well, sometimes one of the suggestions is just let that pain be put into words. Write a letter to whomever or whatever is causing you that pain, that grief, that heartbreak, that stress, that whatever. It helps you go through the grief process to put that pain into words. And while you're doing it, don't resist filtering out the negative emotions that may come along with it. Yeah, so don't resist and allow those negative emotions to just come right out.
Yeah.
But the flip side, allow the positive ones too. Because if you've ever seen the, what was it? It was a Disney movie. I can't remember. Oh, it was a Pixar movie. Forget what it was called, but it was like about the emotions.
Like recent or?
It was within the last 5 years. Inside or something like that. But anyway, so what it was, they personified various emotions, sad, happy, anger, blah, 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 right? And the concept of the movie was like, joy was always like, oh, there can only be one emotion attached to a memory. And the point of the story was, no, there can be multiple emotions attached to one memory. There could be sadness, there can be joy, there can be anger, all in one thing that you remember, or a person that you remember. Because that is possible. There's a lot of people.
Well,
yeah, I know. But, remember, they're making this
for
movie
kids.
Mostly for kids, and so they're going to watch it, and it's teaching them that concept. But this is also something to remember when you're trying to get over things, let something go, is you have to feel both sides of that coin, of that, whatever that situation is. Because that's going to help you but realize how you actually feel about that situation.
Right.
And that's the first part of it, because if you're not being truthful with how you feel about it, you're never going to get over it.
No.
You're always going to hide it, and you're going to just kind of whatever.
Let it fester.
Yeah, let it fester.
Yeah.
So the next thing you could do then, now that you've kind of started accepting not accepting, but like actually feeling how things are, make the commitment to let things go. That sounds weird, doesn't it?
I don't know. I don't know if it sounds weird. I don't know, keep going.
Okay. Why don't you know if it sounds weird or not?
Because, so you're saying, I guess, maybe I'm just not hearing it yet. Because, yeah, you have to be completely honest about everything with yourself.
All right.
Thoughts, all that. So you're saying once you get all of that figured out, you just work on letting it go?
Well, you make the commitment to let it go.
Oh, okay.
And what that means is that you're making a decision, for yourself, and maybe you tell others to help you along the way.
Yeah.
But one of the things you start that helps you do is one of the things that is kind of harmful. When I say harmful, like it doesn't help you to let things go.
Yeah.
Is take whatever that past experience or trauma is, and you relive it over and over and over in your head. You think about it all the time. In your case, in this fictional example, 2 days later, you go, Josh, I can't believe you broke my drumstick still. Making the commitment to let it go
grudges, yeah.
is saying, I'm not going to revisit that past event, no matter how much it hurt me still.
So in a sense, well, I guess I say in that whole case for as far as like Josh and I, it would be more so forgiveness.
It'd be forgiveness, but at the same time, never bring it up again. Never relive that memory. Never go back to that.
I thought that was kind of the purpose of that.
That is. I'm just kind of making it more verbose.
Oh, okay. All right.
And so for me, with me and, my dad, it's one of those things of what was the pain point? The pain point was, losing him. So the pain point is never revisiting at least that memory, so to speak, of the night he died. Yeah. Now, that's not to say I never think about it. It's just don't dwell on it. Don't look for the pain that's there. Remember the other good parts. Remember when I had chicken pox and he took me out to lunch on a dock in North Carolina. Stuff like that. And so you start doing that, right? Well, then what do? Well, you have to then accept the things for how they are. You can't change the fact that Josh broke your drumstick.
No, I can't.
I can't change the fact that my dad passed away. Okay.
There's just such a huge difference.
I know there is a huge difference, but I needed something for you. I have to accept. We have to accept the fact that Joe Biden is our president. We have to accept the things for what they are.
Right.
We can't change the past as much as we would like to, and as much as all this science fiction out there in the world says time travel. Okay.
The Avengers, man, it's possible.
So there's no point in going back to relive that story or that event over and over and over again, because it's done with.
Right.
It's set in stone.
Yeah.
And we need to accept that. And that's maybe one of the hardest parts of this process, is accepting that there's nothing that we could have done differently. It is what it is. Because you always have those people who go, well, what if I did this? What if I did that? What if I did this? And you sit there and run on those what ifs.
Yeah, I can be very much like that.
Guess what? It happened. Yeah. We're done. We can't do what ifs anymore.
That is one thing that always also drives me nuts is, I guess, people that are always, well, what if this and that? And it's just like they come up with a million different what ifs. I'm just like, this is what happened.
No, don't get me wrong. To have like a conversation about like, hey, what would the world be like if, let's say Hitler successfully invaded Great Britain. What would the world be like? Just one of those like
Right.
kind of things of like thinking about the consequences.
Yeah.
Those can be fun, but when you're doing this on something that is personally impacting you,
It's not too
it's
enjoyable.
not a fun thing to do.
No, it's not.
Don't get me wrong. There might be like, oh, what if we, it's in science fiction a lot. Like, what if I turn left here instead of right? Those could be fun to ponder once in a while, but
Right.
in the end, you're just going to cause yourself more harm. Except, I'm
we get
sorry,
worked up about
it
that.
is what it is. Congratulations, right? So after you kind of accepted it, guess what you also need to do? And this one is kind of one of those conditional ones.
Okay.
If you blame others for any part of it, you have to stop blaming them. Whether it was an accident or whatnot, you got to stop blaming other people. If others are involved, obviously. If it's something like, with my dad, I could easily blame the government because they knew about Agent Orange. They knew what Agent Orange was doing.
Yeah.
And in a way, I have to be able to stop blaming them and say, okay, I know I'm not going to get an official apology from the government.
No.
But what that does then is it makes, I guess in a way, to say it this way, it makes me feel less like a victim and more like it happened. It helps me accept it better. It helps me accept what happened better, and the fact that it happened. There's nothing they could do differently now. We got to move on.
Yeah. Huh. Interesting.
It ties in with that accepting, with, like I said, accepting things as they are. And in the best situation, you get an apology from them. They are a person, and life goes on. But you continuously blaming them puts you in the trap and you in debt to them. Because, that popular phrase of, like, hey, I'm living in your head rent free. They are living in your head rent free. You're always thinking about them. You're always pondering on things because you're always wondering what if something happened differently, or I hate them, or blah, blah, blah. Or it's their fault, or it's no longer the problem. Let them go.
That's interesting. I feel like I've never
Because by letting them go, you let
thought
yourself
of
go.
Stuff like that. Because now, I mean, as soon as you mentioned for your father's passing,
Yeah.
I said that feels horrible to put it that way.
Nope, say it.
But no, because as far as like loss goes, I guess I've never thought of that as something to like let go of, because I was like, well, you don't really have a choice in letting go or not, because it's like,
Well, it's not that I'm letting go of him.
yeah,
I'm letting go of my response to losing him.
right. I guess I've never thought I mean, that being a much more like, I guess, obviously close to heart, very close to heart, like more intense of a situation. Because I want to say, I guess even that one too. Then, as far as like losing people, because then I feel like one of the hardest ones I've had so far was my drum teacher, Joe.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess like, and it's like almost every time when it comes to like May 19th, and then August like 18th, like around those times, I guess like he is on my mind more, kind of thing. I'll obviously just because I miss him. I've never thought of, I guess, like letting go. Maybe I don't think there is anything to let go of.
Yeah, and so
At least with that.
So there's a difference between them being on your mind, around that time, and having a pain, a wound from the experience.
Well, because I remember the only things I do remember is because I had written something out for him that I was gonna go give him, Or, yeah, just like a note kind of thing. Because I remember my dad and I went to go visit him in the hospital one day. And then, yeah, I had written something that I wanted to go give to him. But then by that time, he'd already passed. So with that, I was just like, had I just done it sooner or whatever. Just at least that. But then even for...
Okay, well, let's park here on that for a second, actually.
Okay.
So, when, you kind of like, I should have done it sooner, sort of deal. Do you remember some of the thoughts and feelings associated with that? Obviously, probably a little bit of like
Upset with myself,
yeah,
for sure. That's always... So,
what did you do with that feeling afterwards?
See, that's why I have no idea. I don't remember. I guess it's the main thing is just knowing. It's like, well, there's nothing you can do about it. It just kind of is what it is.
Huh. So you accepted it.
I did.
You stopped blaming others.
Just myself. For
question:
being slow.
Did you ever forgive yourself on it? About that?
I don't know. I mean, at this point, I guess I would say yes. I don't know how long that took, though.
Yeah, but eventually you did, right?
Yeah.
Huh. Because guess what the next step is?
What?
Forgiving yourself.
Dang.
And others. First you got to stop blaming others.
Right.
And that includes stop blaming yourself as well. But then you have to forgive yourself as well. There's nothing you could have done differently to do that.
Ooh, that brings up more questions, but then that's
getting
into others. Well, that's getting into a different direction of stuff, I guess. And I remember because I remember bringing up at a Bible study, I don't know, what was going on? I don't know. I had mentioned that I was having an issue with lost and knowledge, porn and stuff like that, internet, woo, and one thing that I had mentioned, I was I have a tough time I was forgiving myself of stuff, and I just hammer down on myself more and more and more and more and more kind of thing. One of the guys says, so you say, well, nowhere in the Bible does it talk about forgiving yourself. And I was just I was now I just feel like this whole thing that I said just is out to make me look stupid in front of all of you guys. I'm I didn't like that. But so I always had that thought that at that moment I was so there's never a time where you have to forgive yourself for stuff. I was because if that's what you're saying, I don't believe you.
Yeah, so you have to forgive yourself on things. There's things that now there's a difference between forgiving yourself as in salvation and forgiving yourself as in I did something stupid. I look, it happened. I have to forgive myself and move on. There's a difference there in theology and terminology, right?
Yes.
Now that being said, I can't tell without talking with that other person if they're being a little facetious or whatnot. But
right.
I kind of get what they're talking about, where they're saying, well, you can't forgive yourself as far as for the sin, but you can and they might have been a little too hyper focused on that portion where they weren't thinking about you have to give yourself a little bit of grace and a little bit of forgiveness that, hey, I screwed up, but I'm now trying to get better. I am now not the same person I was back then.
Yeah. So I guess I should have talked to him about that, because he said something about he only talks about Jesus has already forgiven you kind of thing.
Yeah.
So you don't. He's it doesn't talk anywhere about you forgiving yourself on stuff. I'm what? I was okay.
Yeah, because it doesn't help you if you resent yourself at all.
Right.
You have to forgive yourself, and it doesn't matter if it's an issue with porn, lust. It doesn't matter if it's you having to forgive Josh for being an idiot for breaking your drumstick, or
that's a lot easier.
I had to forgive myself for the fact that I never. This sounds weird, okay? So follow with me here.
Okay.
I had to forgive myself for not taking the time to learn how to grieve properly, because After I started learning some of this stuff, one of the things that started happening was I started beating myself up internally, like, why, you idiot, didn't you learn how to do this before? And it's like, no, I gotta show some kindness to myself. I need to forgive myself that I didn't have this skill set before. I didn't know how to do this before, and I will.
Right.
There's nothing I can do about my past self with this. Now I'm moving forward, and I'm learning how to do this properly now.
Right. Yeah.
And like they say, to forgive someone, it's to fully let go of those feelings of blame and anger towards them. And again, that's including yourself, even when you screw up.
Yeah. So that's the thing. I feel like it's a lot easier to do that for other people than it is for yourself.
Well, that's part of the reason why it's in that list of things you got to do and got to learn and in order to fully let go of something.
Right.
And it's always going to be easier to show and extend grace to others than to ourselves.
Right.
So you got to learn how to do that, sir.
Yeah. Because I don't know. I guess, yeah. I guess that's the thing where it's, when it comes to other people, it's just like, I guess the first thing that always just comes to my mind is like, okay. I was like, yeah, I guess the big thing is, yeah, we make mistakes, make mistakes, do things, be a little stupid time to time. So it's like, I don't know. Yeah. As far as that goes, it's like and especially if it comes to like, I mean, material stuff, I don't care so much about that, I suppose. It's like if somebody breaks something, it's like, oh, that's okay. One, it can be replaced, but then it's more so, I guess, yeah. Thankfully, I haven't been in a situation like this, but it was like if it came to more like harming either somebody, or I guess whether that's physically or just mentally, emotionally kind of stuff, that's where I'd definitely have a harder time being forgiving on that kind of stuff. But so if you just went out and lit my truck on fire and said, screw you, I'd be like, I'd be a little mad at first, but that would be a lot easier to forgive than, I don't know, you beating a puppy or something. That would make me a lot more angry. Well, what if you were so mad at Josh for some reason, then you hurt one of his dogs, and then
that would never happen.
See, I know it would never happen. I'm just so like that would make me a lot more angry than just a little lighting my car on fire. I don't know.
All right,
but yeah, forgiveness for other people is a lot easier than forgiveness and grace for myself.
Yep. And that's something, like I said, you have to learn how to do in order to let something go, especially when it involves you.
So this is where this makes me think, like, well, I was like, because I've never thought about any of this before. So I was like, if I've never known how to let go of anything before, have I ever really let anything go? Huh? But no.
You're sounding like Josh on YouTube.
I know. I know.
Anyways. So the next step then, after you forgive yourself or forgive whomever.
Yeah.
This is now where we're starting to go into maybe like it's kind of like, do you need it or not sort of deal.
Right.
Like sometimes you're going to need, and this one's actually probably a good idea in general, but find support in people who fulfill you. In other words, surround yourself with people who love you and want nothing but good things for you. Those who are going to support you no matter what. That could be friends, family, a support group. People who are maybe getting over addictions might go to an addiction recovery, outpatient like Alcoholics Anonymous or Narcotics Anonymous, something like that. They might go to those groups because they're going to be around people who are going to help them through whatever it is. And they know the struggle. They've been there.
Yeah.
It might be talking to a friend, whatever. But you're going to need people in your life, regardless of if you need to let something go or not, that help you out through those times. And finally, kind of one of the more mandatory things, and this one I think you do frequently anyway, so I think you're okay on this one. Focus on things that give you joy right now.
Yeah, that's pretty easy to do.
Especially when you're trying to, let something go that's maybe painful or it's been festering for a long time.
Yeah.
Focus on what's giving you joy right now.
Maybe that's not always easy, but it's kind of easy. Depends on the situation.
So, like, I could think of, like me, after I got out of inpatient, where did we go? We went to Dallas.
Yeah.
And that was something I was looking forward to
Yeah.
of doing, and something that I wanted to continue and see that experience. So that gave me something to focus on during that time of getting better.
Yeah.
Why are you laughing?
And then when I called you uppity, not realizing what it meant.
Yep.
You're more uppity.
That's the same trip where you learned where Buddhism would.
Good times.
Yep. And the last thing, and this one is more, I guess, have you been able to let something go or not? But if you're still having trouble, and you're kind of, doing these things, you put that pain to words, you set up, you're making that commitment to let go, you're starting to accept it, you're not blaming others, you're forgiving yourself and others, you're finding support, you're trying to focus on joy, and it's still festering, it's still not going away, it's still there haunting you. Seek professional help. Find a therapist, because it could be something that is done through counseling, or it could be something that's going to need some medication to help it go away.
Right.
It could be an imbalance. That's what it is for me.
Yeah.
Lucky me. And
Right.
These are things that kind of, until recently, I would say, have kind of had a stigma around as going to seek counseling and professional mental help and that.
I don't know. I don't know if it's because of you or what, but it's like I guess I don't know. Maybe I've never had much of an opinion on it before, but especially like after having when you had to go and like get help and stuff, I'm like just thinking like how stupid is it to like I guess try and make people feel bad that need to go out and get help for stuff. I don't know. I just think it's so. I don't know. To me, I don't get it. I don't understand why you would have like a bad mindset or a bad outlook on somebody like that needs to go get help for something. Because then, this is the other thing that kind of, I don't know. It seems like it's definitely becoming more of a common thing, or has it always been this bad, but it's just being out in the light more now, or is there also just more of it happening as time goes on? I feel like more of it is also happening as time goes on, though.
I would agree to both of those statements.
Yeah.
I'd agree that there have been a lot of people, and I will say this, especially men, who have been suffering with mental health issues.
Right.
In silence.
Yeah.
But also because of COVID right now, I also feel it's happening a lot more right now too.
Well, yeah, especially including COVID, but just in general, as the next generation comes, like I feel like it's just becoming more of a common thing.
That's thanks to social media and all these other things.
Yeah.
But yeah, so yes, it's more common, I believe. I think it's getting more acceptable to talk about,
which is good.
So I just recently was interviewed by her name is Christy. She's on from Project In Between. It's a podcast out of Australia. I didn't know it was in Australia when I signed up to be part of it. So all of a sudden I get a message. She's like, okay, it'll be 7:00 Melbourne on a Monday. I'm like, Melbourne, Australia? Wow. So it was like,
what time was I here then?
It was like 4 p.m. on a Sunday here. Whoa. 7 a.m. Monday for her.
Yeah. Wow.
I was like, oh, I didn't realize this was going to be a Monday thing for you. She's like, oh, yeah, I'm just getting my day started.
Oh, my gosh.
I was like, okay, cool.
That's crazy.
But so I know I've talked about my story before and all that, but and I'll let update when that episode goes live with her, but I go into some more of the stuff in there about various things and components about this and my journey of letting this go and everything.
Yeah.
So it was a very interesting. We had about a good 45-minute conversation. It was a good one. So that, like I said, I'll let everyone know when that comes out. I don't know when it's coming out, but yes.
Wow. Man.
So anything else, Mr. Johnson, about letting go?
I mean, I don't know.
Yes.
I was thinking of one, I guess, which I guess you was already covered, but I was like, how do you know of like when to let something go? And then what if you let go of something, but then it's like, you can let go of something. Well, I'm just asking, can you let go of something and then find out later that you shouldn't have let go of it?
Well, let me ask you this question. What would be the harm in letting go of something that is causing you pain, either physically, mentally, or something like that?
I don't know. Well, it is different levels or different kinds of.
But letting go essentially is you're letting go of its control over how you react emotionally, mentally, physically to something.
Right.
Even if it's something that maybe, like, for example, I'm just throwing out a ludicrous situation, okay?
Yeah.
You find out Josh beats puppies.
Ooh.
You confront him about it.
Yeah.
He says he stops. You let it go.
Okay.
Okay? And then it comes out later out, oh, nope, he never stopped. Yes, you let it go, but what harm did it have in letting it go if you didn't know what you didn't know? As far as you were aware, everything stopped, right?
Right.
And as far as you were, everything was good, so you let it go. You no longer had control of you.
Yeah.
There's no harm in letting it go.
Well, no, and I guess that's in like a situation like that.
Yeah, but so what would be something that you would let go that you shouldn't have let go? I would say nothing. Because if it's causing you physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, if it's causing you harm.
I guess if it's all of it, then yeah.
Either or. That's not a list of everything like that it can include. It's put an or between each of those items.
Okay.
If it's causing you harm in any one of those areas, letting it go will do good for you. Now, that does not mean that if something's going wrong, that you don't act to correct it. That doesn't mean like if you find out something illegal is going on or someone's being harmed or stuff like that, that doesn't mean that you don't fight to correct that. Still justice and that should still be there, but you don't let it cause you harm. Letting it go does not mean free of consequence.
No.
Letting it go simply means that you're not letting it have any control over how you live and how you feel. It simply means you're not letting it harm you in that regard. Essentially, not letting it go is like giving whatever it is that's causing that physical, mental, emotional, whatever harm. It is essentially say, here's a razor blade. You're free to cut me however you wish. Letting it go is saying, I'm taking that razor blade away from you. Yeah. You don't get to harm me anymore, but we're still going to take care of the root cause of this.
Okay. All right. That.
So it's never. Now, don't get me wrong. There's going to be things like, let's say if it was a abusive relationship, right?
Right.
You get out of that relationship still. You don't stay in it at all. Letting go does not mean you stay in a bad situation.
Well, no, and I was thinking more so, I guess, as their whole relation side. I was like, so. Josh and I were just on a rocky moment right now.
Apparently so.
Yeah, as I just talked to him on the phone this morning. But I guess I was thinking of letting go. I just, for whatever, assume that's like, okay, I'm not having anything to do with that person anymore as of this moment. But I guess it doesn't have to be that. You don't have to remove the person from your life.
Right.
So, okay.
Yeah, there's a difference between letting go and getting rid of the source of what you need to let go. And it's not always prescriptive and the same thing of letting go, meaning you have to get rid of that person. It may be keep
worst comes to worst, that would be the case.
Yeah, but especially if it's like an abusive relationship or they're causing harm to you in some way. Yeah. Then cut them out of your life as well. Yeah. Not physically cut them like with a razor blade, but get them out of your life. Or that if you need to do like restraining order or whatnot, still do that.
Bad, yeah.
And learn how Now, learning how to heal after that is going to be hard because a lot of people who are in those relationships, they have trouble separating themselves from those people, unfortunately.
Well, because there's all, again, like there's the good stuff tied with the bad stuff.
Yeah.
And then you want to think of the good stuff. Like, well, this could still be honey. No, honey, it's not going to be that way. It's just going to get worse. But we had these good times.
So you got to remember that it is okay to cut people out if they're abusive or it's a toxic relationship.
Toxic.
But if it's not so much a toxic thing, it's like a one-time thing. Getting over it does not necessarily mean removing them from your life.
No.
It just means getting over whatever was that incident and trying to resolve that either with yourself only or with them as well.
So yeah, talk about it.
You either need to talk about it or just, go through some of these steps to let it go. And you have to forgive them as part of the process.
Right.
And forgiving them doesn't always mean like going, Aaron, sit down, I forgive you. Sometimes it means you have to forgive them yourself without even talking to them. And then maybe afterwards you talk to them and tell them, look, I forgive you for this, for you doing blah, 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 blah.
Right.
And nothing you can say or do will change
it
if I forgive you or not.
That's a decision I made on my own.
So that's how you kind of get over things, as just kind of a big general picture of that. It's not a simple boom, 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 boom process. It may take you weeks to months to do that, or it may even take years to heal from that. And the thing I'll say, the thing that I learned that is so important is that if it is something big and hurtful, like losing a parent, losing a spouse, losing someone that you love, or something real powerful that just eats away at your soul, do not be afraid to get help. Do not be afraid to go talk to a therapist, a counselor, get that medication if need be. Reach out to friends, to family, reach out to people at Heart Support even. Reach out and find support. Find the things that you need and find the things that will help you live a good, successful life.